The Newsday continues here on One News Now Business. I'm Jago Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. The Board of Investment says that total investments it approved reached 1.16 trillion pesos so far this year. Data from the BOI shows this is 59% higher than the 729 billion pesos approved in 2022. However, it's still 29% below the Trade Department's 1.5 trillion peso investment approval target. The BOI says there are 3 more projects worth about 350 billion pesos still being assessed. The board is hopeful that these projects will make it to the last deliberations for the year set on December 28. President Bongbong Marcos extends the lower tariffs on rice, corn, and pork products until the end of 2024. On behalf of Marcos, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin signed Executive Order 50, which maintains the lower tariffs on these commodities. The EO cited possible droughts and dry spells that could affect rice and corn production, as well as trade restrictions in some countries that could affect prices. The EO also intends to ensure food security, help manage inflationary pressures, and augment the supply of basic agricultural commodities and diversify the country's market sources. Under the current modifications on import duties, the tariff rate for rice is 35%, 15 to 25% for pork, and 5 to 15% for corn. Let's get their thoughts on this move. We have with us live via Zoom, Sinag Executive Director Jayson Cainglet. Good morning, sir.
Magandang umaga po at maligayang Pasko sa lahat ng nakikinig at nanonood ng yung programa.
Same to you, sir. Let's get right to it, sir. Now, how does Sinag view yung extension of lower tariffs on rice, corn, and pork products until the end of 2024?
It is very unfortunate na in-extend pa rin siya. As you said, another year. Pero yung lower tariff been there for the past 3 years. And ang sinasabi natin, yung data mismo ng government would show na hindi naman bumaba ang presyo ng baboy, manok, bigas for the past 3 years.
Okay.
Which is the very basis of the EO50 na bababa raw ang presyo. So again, tingin natin dito, nape-penalize ang producers and consumers. And again, yung mga importers are being rewarded with low tariff.
And of course, in response to President Bongbong Marcos's decision to extend the lower tariffs, how does your group, Sinag, assess the potential impact sa agricultural sector?
Unang-una kasi yung basis ng EO, kailangan natin tingnan. One, sinasabi niya inflationary. Number 2, yung stocks and supply. As far as we're concerned, we have enough stocks. Kahit ang gobyerno sinasabi, marami tayong stocks ng baboy, sapat ang stocks natin ng bigas. At ano yung tinututukan talaga ng Executive Order 50? Sa tingin talaga natin, hindi ito makikinabang sa consumers kasi nga hindi naman bumaba ang presyo. Lalo hindi nakikinabang sa producer kasi dadami naman yung mga much cheaper imported products ng baboy. And thirdly, again, as much as 20 billion ang mawawala sa gobyerno because of organ revenues. By reducing tariffs, malaki yung mawawala sa kaba ng bayan.
Sir, yung reasons na na-mention sa executive order, how does Sinag then assess the overall outlook for rice, corn, and pork production na in light na may potential challenges like, for example, drought, dry spell, yung El Nino natin, and of course, yung mga trade restrictions?
Yung sa drought and dry spell sa El Nino, it's a global phenomenon. Lahat naman naapektuhan yan. Ang tanong nga natin, bakit lagi tayo ang solution is to import? Why can't we support local production, boost local production, para pag may dumating na mga pandaigdigang phenomenon like itong El Nino, makakasurvive tayo. Kasi countries katabi lang natin like Thailand and Vietnam, they're coping. Even Malaysia and Cambodia, would you believe? And even Singapore, they're starting to produce talaga locally instead of relying on imports. That's basically our problem with the EO. Lagi niyang pinopromote, encourage ang importers and di-discourage ang local producers natin.
Sir, binanggit niyo of course regarding El Nino yung mapagiging resilient. Now, our country is bracing already for the effects of El Nino next year. Ano po mga steps na pwedeng i-propose ng Sinag or na-propose na ng Sinag para ma-enhance yung resilience natin sa agricultural sector? Of course, in response to sa factors mentioned sa EO 50, such as yung climate-related challenges and of course yung international trade dynamics natin.
Yung specific sa El Nino, kung ngayon lang tayo magpe-prepare talagang hindi kaya. We've
Okay.
been proposing na, magtayo ng mga small water impounding systems, pagganahin yung, mga irrigation canals, those things. But that would take months and years.
Mhm.
Hindi talaga siya kakayanin kung ngayon lang natin siya gagawin.
Okay.
As far as yung sitwasyon ngayon is concerned, ang tingin natin pa rin, suportahan kaagad ang mga farmers na tatamaan ng El Nino by providing them farm inputs, by providing them the necessary inputs para makapagtanim sila ulit if and when madadamage sila because of El Nino. So far kasi ang problema rin natin, hindi pa specify yung areas kung saan tatama ang El Nino kasi we
Mhm.
need that para right now malaman ng farmers kung magtatanim pa siya o hindi
Okay.
or kung wala namang El Nino, do'n dapat, tulungan ng gobyerno as far as yung irrigation and water is concerned. 'Yun ang problema natin, eh,
Yes.
sumusuntok pa lang tayo sa buwan, sabi nila mag-i-impact siya ng fourth quarter which is now. Fortunately, hindi siya nag-impact at
Aha.
naging maganda yung ani natin. So yung next cropping, nagtatanim na ngayon, nagpe-prepare na yung mga farmers.
Oh, mhm.
Hopefully, mas specific agad ng mga gobyerno kung saan talaga yung inaasahan yung major impact ng El Nino.
Based sa mga nasabi niyo, sir, overall, no, anong din ang report card niyo, anong assessment niyo itong 2023 sa performance ng gobyerno in handling these issues? At ano po ang ma-expect niyo dapat gawin ng government next year?
Ah, Una malaki yung inaasahan natin sa pagpasok ng bagong sekretary ng DA, si
Mm.
Secretary Laurel. Nakailang beses natin siyang kausap. Talagang malaki yung kumbaga ay babakahin sa agricultural sector, 4 years of neglect.
Mhm.
Where we're hoping magtuloy-tuloy yung communication sa secretary at yung mga proposal ng industry, magtuloy-tuloy. Ano? Kailangan lang naman natin yung commitment ng gobyerno that they are still with the farmers,
Mhm.
that farmers are still encouraged to farm. Ang problema natin kasi pagka ganito lagi ang sitwasyon, baka dumating yung point na tama rin na yung mga magsasaka natin, tama rin na yung mga farmers na magtanim, tama rin na yung mga magbababoy na mag-alaga ng baboy at mga magmamanok, ay tumigil na rin sa pag-aalaga ng mga manok. We were hoping na wag umabot sa ganung sitwasyon ng ating mga
Mhm.
local producers.
Again, thank you for your time, sir, and your insights, and happy holidays again. That was Executive Director Jayson Cainglet.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Jago Castro. The Philippines' external debt service burden more than doubled in the January to September period. BSP data shows that the country's debt service burden on external borrowings skyrocketed by 130.7% to 10.8 billion pesos. That's from the 4.7 billion pesos recorded in the same period in 2022. As of end September, the debt service burden is equivalent to 3.5% of GDP, higher than 1.6% in the same period a year ago. RCBC Chief Economist Michael Ricafort noted that the government had escalated its foreign borrowing since last year in a bid to hedge against rising interest rates and diversify its borrowing sources. Ricafort also suggested that potential 2024 Federal Reserve rate cuts in line with the global trend of easing inflation might be reflected locally. This could provide relief to external debt servicing costs through reduced borrowing expenses. The Energy Department hopes that the development of nuclear energy in the country will make significant progress next year. DOE Undersecretary Sharon Garin said the government is considering a slow but sure approach when it comes to nuclear energy. Garin added that the government wants to make sure that nuclear energy is safe and secure so as not to put at risk the lives and health of Filipinos. The agency is hoping to craft a roadmap of up to 2032 with a target of putting nuclear energy in the energy mix by 2032 or 2033. Let's now take a quick look at some corporate headlines we're watching. A study commissioned by Meralco found that its electricity rates rank 3% below the global average. The study conducted by the International Energy Consultants ranked Meralco's rates 21st out of 46 energy markets. Meralco attributes what it called fair and reasonable rates to its business scale, which allows it to source the cheapest cost of electricity. The Chu Property Consultants projects the residential property sector to improve next year, driven by developments outside Metro Manila. The retail property sector is also expected to continue recovering as mall owners and operators incorporate a more experiential space for customers. 2024 will also be a good year for Filipino travelers as airfares are set to drop in January, with the government moving to slash fuel surcharge. The Civil Aeronautics Board announced that the fuel surcharge that airlines could collect from passengers will be cut to level 6 in January from level 7 in December. Level 6 means carriers can impose a fuel surcharge of only 185 to 665 pesos for domestic flights and 610 to over 4,500 pesos for international routes. And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Jago Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.